Imagine winning $12 million overnight, only to have your life spiral into chaos, danger, and betrayal. What started as a simple lottery ticket would turn one woman's dream into a decade-long nightmare. This is the shocking story of Monica Lane, how a fortune brought her everything and almost cost her life. It all began with a simple act of kindness that would spiral into chaos, greed, and danger. One day, a waitress was handed a ticket that would forever change her life. She had no idea that a single moment at work would put her in the center of a storm she never asked for. Her name was Monica Lane, and in 1999, she was 28 years old, living in a small town in Mississippi. Monica worked as a waitress at a local diner, the kind of place where regular customers were part of the family, and tips were small but necessary for survival. Her life had been ordinary, predictable, and struggling. She lived paycheck to paycheck, often wondering if things would ever get better. Monica wasn't spoiled or entitled. She was simply someone trying to survive, pay her bills, and maybe save a little for the future. Monica's childhood hadn't been easy. She grew up in a single-parent household, her mother working long hours just to keep food on the table. Monica had always learned to fend for herself, to be independent, and to handle disappointment without expecting anyone to bail her out. She was resourceful, clever, and resilient, but that toughness was tested every single day in a job that barely covered rent and groceries. One afternoon, as Monica wiped tables and refilled coffee cups, a familiar face walked through the diner's doors. Raymond Carter, a truck driver who frequented the diner, always greeted the staff with a smile and a kind word. On this particular day, Raymond left something unusual behind, a lottery ticket. It wasn't money, it wasn't a tip, just a piece of paper with numbers printed on it. He often did this, leaving tickets for the staff as a quirky gesture of goodwill. Monica picked it up, chuckling, assuming it was just another random ticket that would go nowhere. Little did she know, the universe was about to intervene in a way that would change her life forever. The very next day, the winning numbers were announced. Monica, on a whim, checked the ticket. One number matched, then another, and another. By the end of the announcement, every single number on her ticket matched. She was staring at a winning ticket worth $12 million, a sum that could transform her life entirely. Adjusted for inflation today, it would be nearly $19 million. Monica's heart raced. She had gone from struggling waitress to instant millionaire overnight. The possibilities seemed endless. A new house, a new car, maybe even a life without financial stress for the first time in decades. She quit her job at the diner immediately, thrilled at the freedom that lay ahead. Monica decided to take the winnings in yearly payments of $375,000 over 30 years rather than a lump sum. She had big plans, a beautiful new home, a luxury car, and a fresh start. Finally, after years of scraping by, she could breathe and enjoy the fruits of her luck. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. Just days later, as Monica arrived at the lottery headquarters to claim her prize, the joyous anticipation in her heart quickly turned to confusion and anxiety. Officials at the lottery desk suddenly stopped her. They refused to hand over the money. Why? 4 of Monica's former co-workers at the diner, people she had shared long shifts and endless trays of coffee with, claimed that there had been a long-standing agreement among the staff. If one of them won a lottery ticket left by Raymond Carter, the winnings would be split evenly. They had hired lawyers and filed a lawsuit, arguing that the ticket Monica had now claimed belonged to everyone who worked that shift. Monica was stunned. She had never agreed to such an arrangement and certainly hadn't anticipated that something as simple as a lottery ticket would pull her into a bitter legal battle. The legal fight was only beginning. Monica's 4 co-workers testified against her in court, even calling Raymond Carter as a witness. Shockingly, he supported their claims, insisting that he had intended the ticket to benefit all the staff, not just Monica. He even claimed that the winner had promised to buy him a white pickup truck, a promise Monica had never made. Monica was caught in a nightmare. The jury initially sided with her co-workers. She was ordered to split her winnings, and the dream of immediate wealth seemed to crumble before her eyes. Her sense of justice and fairness was shattered, replaced by disbelief, anger, and frustration. She felt cheated, wronged, and on the verge of losing everything she had just won. But Monica was not someone who would back down. She appealed the decision, determined to fight for what she knew was rightfully hers. In the meantime, she returned to work at a different diner, waiting for the appeals process to run its course. It was a humbling, frustrating, and tense period, but Monica's tenacity wouldn't let her give up. A year later, in 2000, the state Supreme Court ruled in her favor. Monica Lane finally had full control over her $12 million winnings. Relief, excitement, and vindication washed over her. She could now plan her future without interference, though as her story would show, the challenges weren't over. Monica Lane thought that winning the lottery would finally free her from the daily grind, the bills, and the stress. She imagined a life of freedom, travel, and comfort. But she quickly realized that money has a way of attracting trouble, and in her case, it came faster than she ever expected. The initial legal battle against her former coworkers wasn't just stressful, it was the opening act of a series of events that would turn her life upside down. Even after the state Supreme Court ruled in her favor, granting her full ownership of the $12 million, new challenges emerged almost immediately. Raymond Carter, the very man who had given her the winning ticket, filed his own lawsuit. He claimed, again, that he had intended the ticket to be shared among all the diner staff, and that Monica had broken a promise to him involving a white King cab pickup truck. Suddenly, Monica was fighting two lawsuits at once, one she had already won and one that threatened to take it all back. While the legal system slowly worked its way through these disputes, Monica's personal life began to crumble as well. She was in the middle of a messy divorce from her first husband, a man who also believed he was entitled to half of her newfound fortune. The stress was relentless. Imagine going from struggling to pay rent 1 month, to being chased in court by former coworkers, a greedy ex, and a vindictive truck driver the next. Monica had no choice but to be resilient, but every day felt like walking through a storm with no end in sight. Just when she thought she could finally breathe, the unthinkable happened. In 2002, while Monica was in Mississippi for reasons she still wasn't clear about, another ex-husband, let's call him Jason, decided that he wanted a piece of her lottery fortune. This wasn't just a confrontation or argument, it quickly turned into something far more dangerous. Jason snapped. He forced Monica into her car at gunpoint, shouting threats and demanding that she hand over part of her $12 million. Every instinct Monica had screamed danger. Her heart raced, her palms were slick with sweat, and yet she knew she had to think fast or risk her life. Jason drove her around, his anger escalating with every turn. He threatened that if Monica didn't comply, she wouldn't leave alive. This wasn't just theft, it was kidnapping, and Monica was trapped with someone she had once trusted in a life-or-death situation. As they approached a secluded boat launch, Monica knew she had only one chance. Her purse, normally a simple carrier for essentials, contained a small .22 pistol. Jason, enraged and focused on intimidation, didn't notice Monica slowly reaching for it. In a heartbeat, she drew the gun and fired. The bullet struck Jason in the chest, but he wasn't down yet. He lunged at her, wrestling the weapon free. Adrenaline surged through Monica's body. She realized that the only way to survive was to get him to a hospital. Using every ounce of her wit, she convinced him to let her drive. Somehow, they made it to a hospital, and Jason survived the gunshot. Remarkably, Monica faced no charges. Authorities recognized that she had acted in self-defense, preventing a kidnapping that could have ended in her death. As for Jason, records are murky, but it's safe to assume he faced legal consequences for his actions. This terrifying encounter added another layer of intensity to Monica's already chaotic life. But the challenges didn't stop there. Even after surviving a potential murder and kidnapping, Monica's financial and legal battles continued. She had been generous with her family, transferring portions of her winnings to siblings and relatives. In theory, this was a noble gesture, but in practice, it caught the attention of the IRS. The government claimed that these transfers were taxable gifts, and Monica faced a new financial storm. By the end of the decade, she owed $800,000 in taxes related to these gifts. She worked tirelessly to negotiate and resolve the issue, learning firsthand that sudden wealth brings scrutiny, complications, and a level of stress far beyond what anyone can prepare for. By 2012, nearly a decade after her initial win, Monica finally reached a point where she could relax, at least a little. She had survived lawsuits, a violent kidnapping, ex-spouses, and the IRS. She had won the lottery, defended her rights, and navigated a maze of legal and personal obstacles. Yet, even in victory, the story of Monica Lane serves as a chilling reminder. Money doesn't just change your life, it exposes the true character of everyone around you. Friends, family, strangers, and even those you thought you could trust will reveal themselves in ways you might never expect. Monica had learned something harsh and invaluable. Fortune doesn't just come with opportunity, it comes with danger, betrayal, and unforeseen consequences. Every decision she made from this point on had to be careful, calculated, and guarded. She realized that survival wasn't just about avoiding danger, it was about anticipating it, thinking ahead, and protecting herself and her assets from a world suddenly eager to take what she had earned. By the time 2003 rolled around, Monica Lane had endured more trials than most people face in a lifetime. Her lottery win, which should have been a simple stroke of luck, had transformed into a battleground filled with lawsuits, ex-spouses, kidnappers, and government scrutiny. Yet, despite all the chaos, Monica was determined to protect her fortune and her life. She had survived what seemed like impossible odds, and she wasn't about to let anyone take her hard-earned money. After the kidnapping ordeal with Jason, Monica made a vow: she would never allow herself to be vulnerable in the same way again. She invested in personal security measures, kept her location private, and learned to trust very few people. She realized that wealth, while freeing in some ways, also painted a target on her back. Suddenly, people who had been friendly or familiar turned opportunistic. The 4 former co-workers, Raymond Carter, her ex-husbands, and even some distant relatives all became obstacles she had to navigate with caution. Her ex-husband from her divorce, the one involved in the initial custody battle and claims over her winnings, had also resurfaced. Legal documents indicated he was seeking a portion of her fortune, citing property and marital assets. Monica, however, had learned the system well enough to defend herself. She hired skilled attorneys who argued persuasively that the lottery winnings were her separate property, earned independently of her marriage. Month after month, Monica attended hearings, provided documentation, and calmly held her ground. Meanwhile, Raymond Carter's lawsuit, the one over the intended shared ticket, and the white pickup truck, dragged on for years. But the courts were increasingly leaning in Monica's favor. The precedent had been set by her victory against her former co-workers. The law had recognized her right to claim the ticket. Eventually, in 2004, Raymond's claims were dismissed, leaving Monica fully in control of her $12 million. Justice, finally, had been served, but the ordeal had left her wary, cautious, and more guarded than ever. Even with the legal battles behind her, financial complications arose. In her desire to share her wealth, Monica had gifted portions of her winnings to her family. While she intended these transfers as acts of love and generosity, the IRS viewed them as taxable gifts. In 2012, nearly a decade after her initial win, Monica was ordered to pay significant taxes on these gifts, approximately $800,000. For a moment, it felt like history repeating itself, money once again bringing chaos into her life. But Monica's experience and resilience helped her negotiate a settlement, allowing her to keep the bulk of her fortune while satisfying the IRS's demands. Despite the storms, Monica had survived. She had faced betrayal, theft attempts, legal threats, and life-threatening situations, and she had prevailed. She learned that wealth was not simply about luxury or comfort, it was a tool that could be wielded or attacked, depending on who surrounded her. Her story became a lesson in vigilance, resilience, and strategy. Fortune without caution is a vulnerability. But Monica's journey wasn't just about surviving, it was also about reclaiming her life. She chose to invest in her future wisely. Some of her winnings went into secure investments, creating streams of income that would continue to support her long after the headlines faded. She used some of her money to help family members in need, carefully, strategically, and legally, ensuring that generosity didn't compromise her security. Most importantly, Monica decided to keep her personal life private, avoiding the public eye and the opportunists who had once surrounded her like vultures. By 2012, the decade of chaos had largely ended. Monica was wealthy, secure, and, perhaps more importantly, wiser. She had transformed from a struggling diner waitress into a woman who had navigated the fiercest storms of human greed and survived. Yet, the story left lingering questions about human nature, the lengths some would go to seize money, the fragility of trust, and the courage required to fight for what is right. Monica Lane's saga is a striking reminder that fortune is rarely as simple as it seems. For every moment of joy, there can be conflict. For every windfall, there may be betrayal. And for every victory, there may be a test of resilience, courage, and moral clarity. Through it all, Monica proved that even in the face of greed, danger, and life-threatening situations, a determined person can prevail, and justice, though delayed, can ultimately be achieved. By the time the dust had settled, Monica Lane had endured a decade-long saga of fortune, betrayal, and survival. From that single lottery ticket left on a diner counter to courtrooms filled with lawsuits, life-threatening kidnappings, and tax battles, her journey had been anything but ordinary. She had transformed from a struggling waitress into a wealthy woman, yet the journey to security had demanded courage, resilience, and an unshakable sense of self. Looking back, it's almost unbelievable. One day, Monica was just serving pancakes and coffee to truck drivers and locals, barely making ends meet. The next, she held in her hands a ticket worth $12 million. But wealth didn't bring only happiness, it brought scrutiny, greed, and danger. Former coworkers claimed a share, an ex-spouse demanded half, a man who had once been friendly tried to claim the ticket, and another ex nearly took her life. The law, while ultimately fair, became both a shield and a battlefield. Every decision Monica made, from appealing court decisions to handling the IRS, was a delicate balance between preserving wealth and protecting herself. Through all of this, Monica learned an invaluable lesson about the cost of sudden fortune. Money can magnify everything. Generosity becomes scrutiny, friendship becomes opportunism, and trust becomes a liability. She learned to navigate life with caution, planning every move carefully, and surrounding herself only with people who had proven their loyalty and integrity. The experience shaped her into someone sharper, wiser, and fiercely protective of her own life and assets. And yet, there was a bittersweet side to the story. Monica had survived every legal and personal storm, but she had also witnessed firsthand the lengths people will go for money. She had learned that human nature is complex. Some are honest, some are opportunistic, and some will cross moral boundaries when tempted by fortune. Her story is not just about winning the lottery, it is a cautionary tale about vigilance, resilience, and understanding the true nature of those around you. Today, Monica's life is quieter, more controlled. She manages her wealth wisely, invests carefully, and keeps her private life private. She occasionally reflects on her past, the chaos that erupted from a simple lottery ticket, and the lessons she had to learn the hard way. She doesn't talk much about her exact fortune, understanding that discretion is part of both safety and sanity. Yet one thing is certain, Monica survived, she prevailed, and she reclaimed her life on her own terms. Her story leaves us with a chilling but necessary thought: fortune is never just about money, it tests character, trust, and courage. A windfall can create opportunity, but it also attracts danger. In the end, it is not just what you win, but how you handle what comes with it, that defines you. Monica's saga sparks a powerful question for all of us. If you suddenly inherited millions, could you handle the chaos, betrayal, and threats that come with it, or would fortune become a curse? Her story challenges viewers to think about human nature, resilience, and morality in the face of sudden wealth. It's a tale of survival, tenacity, and the harsh realities that sometimes accompany the dream of a life-changing windfall. Monica Lane's story is a chilling reminder that fortune is rarely as simple as it seems. Money can bring freedom, but it also reveals the true nature of everyone around you. Friends, family, strangers, everyone shows their hand when wealth is at stake. So, we leave you with this. If you suddenly inherited millions, could you handle the chaos, betrayal, and threats that come with it, or would fortune become a curse? Think carefully, because sometimes, the most dangerous thing isn't losing your money, it's surviving the people who want it. If you want more shocking stories like this, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't believe the stories coming next.